Good day everyone, and welcome to our General Mathematics class. I am Ma'am Shirley, and for today's discussion, we will be having solving rational equations and inequalities. Let's start. Let's start with this example. X over 6 plus x over 12 is equal to 1. So, ang una natin pwede gawin dito is to eliminate yung ating denominators by multiplying both sides of the equation by the LCD. So when we say LCD, that is the least common denominator. In this example, our LCD is 12. So when we say multiply both sides of the equation, that is also the same as multiplying yung ating LCD sa bawat term sa loob ng ating grouping symbol. So, mag-start tayo sa unang term. Multiply 12 to x over 6, that will give us 12x over 6. Next, multiply 12 to the second term, that will be 12 times x over 12, and that will be 12x over 12. So, kinapi lang natin yung ating plus sign. Then, equals, we have here 1, so multiply 12 to 1, and that will give us 12. So, simplifying this further, we have 12x divided by 6, that will be 2x. Copy again the plus sign. 12x divided by 12, that will be x, equals 12. Combining like terms, 2x plus x, that will be equal to 3x, is equal to 12. Since we are solving for x, we are going to divide both sides by 3 para x na lang yung matitira sa isang side natin. So, we can have this out. So, we will be having the value of x, which is equal to 12 over 3 or 4. So, now that we have a value for x, the next thing that we're going to do is to check our answers. So, paano natin i-check ang ating sagot? So, that is by using the original equation, we're going to substitute the obtained value, which is x is equal to 4, and see if it will satisfy our equation. So, let's do this. So, replacing x with 4, we will have 4 over 6 plus 4 over 12. So, pinalitan lang natin yung mga variables natin ng 4 is equal to 1. So, as you can see here, they are dissimilar. So, kailangan natin muna siyang i-change into similar fractions para pwede natin i-add yung ating numerators. So, our LCD is 12, gaya na ginamit natin kanina. So, how are we going to identify our numerators? So, review natin. If we are going to change this to similar fractions, you're going to divide this. And then, kung ano yung obtained value natin, i-multiply natin sa ating numerator. So, that will be 12 divided by 6, that is 2, times 4, and that will give us 8. So, same with this, 4 over 12, that will be 12 divided by 12, that is 1, times 4, that will give us 4, is equal to 1. Okay, so we're going to check pa if they are really equal. So, since they are similar fractions na, pwede na nating i-perform yung operation, which is addition. So, 8 plus 4, that will be 12. And then, copy the denominator, which is 12. And then, let's check if that is equal to 1. So, what is 12 over 12? Correct. So, 12 over 12 is equal to 1. And that is equal to the right side value ng ating equation, which is also 1. And that makes our answer correct. Okay, so let us have another example. So for this one, we're going to have 3 over x minus 5 is equal to 4 over x plus 5. So again, we're going to eliminate the denominators by multiplying both sides by the LCD. So ano kaya yung LCD ng ating denominators in this case? So dito, ang LCD natin is the product of the denominators x minus 5 and x plus 5. So, i-multiply daw natin yung magkabilang side ng ating equation by x minus 5 and x plus 5. So, we're going to do the same with the right side, x minus 5 and x plus 5. So, after that, tingnan natin. How are we going to simplify this further? So, kung makikita nyo, meron tayong x minus 5 sa numerator and then x minus 5 sa denominator. So, in that case, pwede na natin siya i-cancel out. Ganun din sa right side ng ating equation. Meron tayong x plus 5 sa denominator and then another one, the numerator. So, pwede natin i-cancel out. So, that leaves us with x plus 5 na i-multiply natin sa 3 and then yung x minus 5 na i-multiply natin sa 4. So, gawin natin yon. So, in this case, we will be having, unahin natin si 3 times x plus 5 is equal to 4 times x minus 5. After nyan, we're going to distribute the values that we have here dun sa mga terms natin sa loob ng parentheses. So, that will be 3 times x and then 3 times 5. And that will give us 3x plus 15 is equal to, so we're going to do the same with the right side, multiply 4 to x and then 4 to negative 5. So, that will be 4x minus 20. After that, we're going to combine like terms. So, para magawa natin yon, pagsasamahin natin sa isang side lahat ng may variable and then sa kabilang side lahat ng constant. So, pwede natin gawin, ilipat natin mga variables dun sa right side, in this case, and then yung mga constant sa left side. So, that will be 3x going to the right side, and then negative 20 going to the left side. So, upon doing that, we will be having 15, and then negative 20 will become positive 20. And then, 4x, copy lang natin yung 4x, since hindi naman siya lumipat ng side ng equation, positive pa rin siya. But for 3x na nilipat natin from the left side, it will become negative 3x. So, 15 plus 20 will be 35. And then, equals 4x minus 3 will be x. So, therefore, the value of our variable x is 35. So, after that, we're going to check our answer by using the original equation. 3 over x minus 5 is equal to 4 over x plus 5. So, to do that, we're going to replace our variables with our variable x with 35. So, that will be 3 over 35 minus 5. Will that be equal to 4 over 35 plus 5? Let's see. So, 3 over 35 minus 5 will be 30. And then, we have 4 over 40. So, as you can see here, we have two fractions, but both of them can be simplified and written in lowest terms. So, makikita natin sa left side, yung 3 saka yung 30, both divisible by 3. So, gawin natin yon. So, 3 divided by 3 that will be 1. And then 30 divided by 3 will be 10. Sa right side, makikita natin na yung 4 and 40 are both divisible by 4. So 4 divided by 4, that will be 1. And then 40 divided by 4, that will be 10. So if we're going to the right, 1 over 10 is equal to 1 over 10. And that makes our answer correct. Okay, so let us have another example. We have 1 over x minus 5 plus x over x minus 2 is equal to 3 over x minus 5 times x minus 2. So, ano kaya yung LCD natin in this case? Kung mapapansin ninyo, yung denominator natin sa right side is yung product ng x minus 5 and x minus 2, which happens to be the denominator of the terms on our left side, x minus 5 and x minus 2. So, if this is the case, we can have our LCD as the product of x minus 5 times x minus 2. So, we're going to multiply all the terms by x minus 5 and x minus 2. So, just for guidance, isulat din natin yung x minus 5 over x minus 2 dito sa second term natin. Para hindi natin makalimutan na i-multiply din natin siya by the LCD. So, the same with the right side, we have x minus 5 and then x minus 2. Simplifying this, we have, for the first term, as you can see, meron tayo ritong x minus 5 and x minus 5 in our LCD. For the second term, x minus 2 naman, and then x minus 2 in the LCD will be cancelled out. And for the last term, we have exactly the same, the denominator of our third term, as well as our LCD. So, tanggalin na natin siya. Next, simplifying this further, we have 1 times x minus 2 for the first term, copy the plus sign, and then we have x times, ang natira na natin is x minus 5 for the second term, is equal to, for the right side, 3 na lang yung value natin. Okay, so continuing, we're going to have x minus 2 plus, of course, we're going to multiply x to x and x to negative 5, giving us x squared minus 5x, and then that will be equal to 3. So, combining like terms, makikita natin, we have here x and negative 5x. So, we can combine them, and that will give us negative 4x. So, x minus 5x is negative 4x minus 2 plus x squared is equal to 3. So, equating this to 0, lipat natin yung 3 papunta sa left side ng ating equation. So, we will have, writing this in descending order, let's start with x squared, and then we have minus 4x minus 2, and then we have negative 3. Yung 3 natin from the right side is equal to 0. So, we will have x squared minus 4x. So, negative 2 and negative 3 are similar terms. So, that will be negative 5 is equal to 0. So, to find the values of our x, as you can see, we have here a quadratic equation. So, let's try to factor it out to identify the values of x. So, we will have x, then x, and then we have 5 and 1 as the factors of our last term, negative 5. So, after that, nakita natin, negative 5 to. So, 1 is positive, 1 is negative. We will have negative 5, and positive 1. Okay? So that will be the factors of x squared minus 4x minus 5. Okay, so to find the value of x, we can equate both factors to 0. So x minus 5 is equal to 0, as well as x plus 1 is equal to 0. So solving for x will be equal to positive 5, and x will be equal to negative 1. So we have two values for x. We have 5 and have this one, 5, and we have also negative 1. Okay, so let us check our answers using substitution. Okay, so we have the original equation, and then we have our values for x na nasolve natin kanina. X is equal to 5, and x is equal to negative 1. Okay, so let's work with 5 muna. So in this case, we will have 1 over, replacing x with 5, we have 5 minus 5 plus 5 over 5 minus 2 is equal to 3 over 5 minus 5, and then we have 5 minus 2. So it's a question if they are equal. But by judging this one, makikita natin dito that we have 5 minus 5 in the denominator, and that will make our denominator equal to 0. So we also have another one here. So if that's the case, that will be undefined. So if it's undefined, we can say that our value, the value that we obtained kanina, which is x minus 5, does not satisfy the equation. So, pwede po pala yun, ma'am? Yes po. So, yan yung tinatawag nating extraneous root. So, when we say extraneous root, these are values of x na nakuha natin upon solving an equation, but when we check, hindi niya na-satisfy yung given equation. So, 5 is an extraneous root. Now, let us try to check negative 1. So, we're going to do the same. Let us have a division here. Okay. So, we have, again, we're going to substitute our value negative 1 to our equation. So, we will have 1 over negative 1 minus 5 plus negative 1 over negative 1 minus 2 is equal to 3 over negative 1 minus 5 and negative 1 minus 2. So this is a question if they will be equal. So we have 1 over negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6 plus negative 1 over negative 3. Will that be equal to 3 over, we have negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6, and negative 1 minus 2 is negative 3. Okay, so simplifying this further, as you can see here, we have 1 over 6 and then plus negative 1 over 3. In this case, actually we have here negative divided by negative, this one. So, if you have a double negative like that one, or division of negative terms, that will become positive. So, we're going to write yung ating left side into similar fractions, and that is by identifying their LCD. So, their LCD will be 6. Okay? So, again, to do that, that will be, we're going to divide and then multiply. So 6 divided by negative 6, that will be negative 1, times 1, that will be negative 1. Same with that, okay? Plus, 6 divided by 3 is 2, times 1, that will be 2. So will that be equal to the right side, which is 3 over negative 6 times negative 3 will be positive 18. Okay. So simplifying this further, we have negative 1 plus 2, that will be 1 over 6. Will that be equal to 3 over 18? So 3 over 18, as you can see, 3 and 18 are both divisible by 3. So 3 divided by 3, that will be 1. 18 divided by 3, that will be 6. So in this case, our right side will also be 1 over 6. And that makes our equation true. Okay. So how about if we're going to solve rational inequalities? So yung pagsosolve natin ng rational inequalities, parehas lang din naman siya doon sa pagsosolve natin ng rational equations. Of course, ang pinagkaiba lang dito, we are working with inequality symbols such as this one, greater than or equal to. Okay? So, ang first step natin, eliminate natin yung denominators by multiplying all the terms by the LCD. Sa example natin, ang denominators natin are 6 and 3. So, it gives us an LCD of 6. So, multiply natin si 6 sa bawat term. That is 6 times 3x minus 6 times 5 over 6. And then copy the inequality symbol. And then 6 times negative 2x over 3. So, tingnan natin kung meron tayong pwedeng i-cancel out. So, 6 and 6 here can be cancelled out. So, yung 6 natin dito, saka yung 3 are both divisible by 3. So, divide by 3, that will be 2. And then divide by 3, that will be 1. Okay? So, after that, we will have 6 times 3 here will become 18x. And then minus 5 is greater than or equal to, we have 2 times negative 2x, that will be negative 4x. So, after that, we're going to combine like terms. So, pagsasamahin natin sa isang side, lahat ng may variable, and then sa kabilang side, lahat ng constant. So, to do that, we will have negative 4 to the left side, and then negative 5 to the right side. That will be 18x plus 4x is greater than or equal to positive 5. So, 18x plus 4x will give us 22x, which is greater than or equal to 5. So, let us continue our solution here. So, you will have, I will just copy, 22x is greater than or equal to 5. To solve for x, we're going to divide both sides of our inequality by the same value, which is 22. So, we can cancel out 22 here. So, therefore, the value of x will be greater than or equal to 5 over 22. So, that will be the value of x. So, dun sa ating equation, kung mapapansin nyo, meron lang tayong specific na value for x. In this case, kapag ka-inequality, we will have a range of values. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan kung ano yung sinasabi nating value na yan, ito, pakita natin siya using a number line. So, in this case, so, our given value here is yung 5 over 22. So, lalagay natin siya anywhere here. So, pwede na siguro dito. So, since we make use of the greater than or equal to symbol in our previous discussion in piecewise function, So, we will be using a bracket. So, in other books, they make use of the closed circle. Then, sabi natin, di ba, kung saan pa nakapoint ito, yung ating inequality symbol, so, papunta siya sa kanan, or, sabi nga dito, values that are greater than or equal to. So, saan ba yung mga greater values? That will be yung mga papunta sa right side going to, of course, that will be going to positive infinity. Okay? So, other ways of writing our solution for this one will be using an interval set notation, such as this one. So, this is read as x, such that x is greater than or equal to 5 over 22, or an interval notation using the bracket and the parentheses. So, that will be our solution for this given rational inequality. Okay, so what if we have this given example? So we have x plus 3 all over x minus 4 is greater than 0. Kung mapapansin nyo, yung ating inequality is already written in general form. Pag sinabi natin general form, 0 na lang yung nasa isang side ng ating equation or inequality. If this is the case, pwede na nating equate yung ating numerator at denominator sa 0. So, we'll have x plus 3 is equal to 0, and then x minus 4 is also equal to 0. So, solving for x, we have x is equal to negative 3, and x is equal to positive 4. So, yung dalawang value na na-solve natin na yan, those are what we call critical values. So, yung critical values natin will break the number line into intervals. So, yung mga intervals na yon, that will be one of those, one or two of those can be the solution set to our inequality. So, let's do this. So, we have here negative 3, and then we have positive 4. So, we have negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. So, kung mapapansin nyo rin dito sa ating given, ang symbol ng inequality natin is greater than. So, wala siyang or equal to. So, if that's the case, we're going to make use of the parentheses for our number line. So, in our previous discussion, in our previous video, diniscuss natin doon yung relationship between the grouping symbol that we use saka yung inequality symbol. Okay? So, let us identify our intervals. So, for the first one, we have from negative infinity and then going to 3. That's the first interval. For the second interval, we have negative 3 to positive 4. And then for the last one, we have positive 4 going to positive infinity. So, for each interval, kukuha tayo ng tinatawag nating test point. So, yung ating mga test point will be the values na isa-substitute natin doon sa ating inequality. At kapag ka na-satisfy yung inequality, ibig sabihin, yung interval na yon ay part ng solution set. So, kuha muna tayo. So, I suggest yung kasunod na value na ang kuhanin ninyo as test point. So, for negative 3, we have negative 4. And then, in between negative 3 and 4, you can make use of 0. And then, for the third interval, you can make use of 5. Okay. So, isa-isahin natin yung mga test point natin. So, for the first one, we have if x is equal to negative 4, let's see if this value can satisfy our inequality. So, x plus 3 all over x minus 4 is greater than 0. So, negative 4 plus 3 all over negative 4 minus 4 is greater than 0. So, negative 4 plus 3, that will be negative 1 over negative 8 is greater than 0. So, negative 1 divided by negative 8, that will be positive 1/8 greater than 0. And then after that, you're going to check whether this statement is true or not. So, is 1/8 greater than 0? Of course, that is true. So, therefore, our value here, so kung makikita natin, sabi nga natin, we make use of greater than symbol only. Wala yung or equal to, so we're going to make use of the parentheses and then going to this one. So, yung ating interval na ito will be part of our solution set. Since yung -4, na-satisfy niya yung ating inequality. Let us have the second test point. So, for the second test point, we have if x is equal to 0. So, we're going to make use of our inequality, x plus 3 all over x minus 4 is greater than 0. So, substitute natin yung value ng x. So, 0 plus 3 over 0 minus 4 is greater than 0. So, 3 over 4 or over -4 will be greater than 0. Question, is this a statement true or false? Okay, so this statement is false. So, alam naman natin na yung mga negative values ay less than 0. So, dahil greater than na nakalagay dito, this is a false statement. So, therefore, yung interval natin from 3 going to 4 cannot be considered part of the solution set of our inequality. And then for the last one, we have the last test point, if x is equal to 5. So again, we have our inequality, x plus 3 all over x minus 4 is greater than 0. So we have 5 plus 3 all over 5 minus 4 is greater than 0. So 5 plus 3, that will be 8 over 1 greater than 0. Simplifying further, 8 is greater than 0. So, again, the question is this true or false? Okay, so this is of course true. So, dahil true siya, na-satisfy niya yung ating inequality, therefore, yung ating interval dito, so again, we're going to make use of the parentheses, going to positive infinity is part of the solution set for our given inequality. So, for the other side, we have negative infinity. So, to write the solution set for our given inequality, we can write this as we have here negative infinity and -3. Of course, we make use of the parentheses since -3 is not included as a solution. And then union, we have 4 and then going to positive infinity. So this will be our solution set. Okay? So this will be in interval notation. If you're going to write this in set notation, this will be written as x such that x is less than -3. And then union, we have union, this is just a u. And then we have x such that x is greater than 4. Okay, so that will be the solution set for our given inequality. So this is our answer. Okay. Okay, so let us have our last example. So for our last example, we have x plus 7 all over x minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So kung mapapansin ninyo, yung ating inequality is not yet in general form. So yun ang una natin gagawin. So, ililipat natin si positive 9 sa left side for this to be in general form. So, we have x plus 7 all over x minus 1 minus 9 is less than or equal to 0. So, pwede na natin isulat to as similar terms by identifying the LCD. So, yung 9 natin understood to be over 1. So, ang LCD natin will be x minus 1. And then, of course, kung nakita naman natin dito sa ating first term, parehas lang naman siya. So, we can just copy also x plus 7. So, we have 9 here. And then, since 1 ang ating denominator dito sa 9, we will be copying our LCD. So, i-multiply natin siya. So, less than or equal to 0. So, after that, we're going to write them as a single expression na lang. Okay? So, x minus 1. Then, of course, copy x plus 7. And then, yung ating negative 9 dito, ayan, so that is negative 9. I-multiply natin siya sa terms natin inside the parentheses. So, that will be minus 9x and then plus 9 is less than or equal to 0. So, combining like terms, we're going to continue our solution here. So, we will have, so ang similar terms natin dyan, we have x and negative 9x. And that will give us negative 8x. And then, we also have 7 plus 9, and that will give us plus 16. And then, in the denominator, we have x minus 1. So, that will be less than or equal to 0. So, sabi natin kanina, if it's already in general form, we can equate both numerator and denominator sa 0. Okay, so, let us have the first one, negative 8x plus 16 is equal to 0. And then we have the other value, or we have the denominator, which is x minus 1, is also equal to 0. Okay, so let's work with the first one. So, yung negative 8x natin, so that will be negative 8x is equal to, we're going to transpose, we're going to have positive 16 to the right side of our equation. So, that will be negative 16. Okay? So, let us have a division here. So, to solve for x, we're going to divide both sides by negative 8. Negative 8. So, this can be cancelled out. So, for the value of x, that will be equal to positive 2. And then, for the other value of x, we will be having x is equal to, so if we're going to have negative 1 to the other side, that will be positive 1. So, our critical values here are positive 2 and positive 1. Okay. So, again, these critical values, siya yung magbe-break ng ating number line into intervals. Pero, may kailangan tayong pansinin sa ating given. So, sa given natin, as you can see, yung inequality symbol natin, meron tayong or equal to. So, if that's the case, kailangan isama natin yung ating critical values na, na positive 2 and positive 1 as test values. Okay? So, para mas maintindihan, let us have this one. Ayan. So, yan yung ating given inequality. So, we have the number line. Sabi natin, ang ating critical values are, we have positive 1 and positive 2. So, those are our critical values. So, in this case, tulad ng sinabi natin, siya yung maghahati ng ating mga intervals. So, isa-isahin natin. So, first one, we have that is from negative infinity to 1. Okay? And then, we have the next interval from 1 to 2. And then, we have the last one, which is from 2 to positive infinity. So, unahin na muna natin yung ating mga test points. So, for the first test point, we can have 0. For the second test point, we're going to choose any value between 1 and 2. So, let us have, for example, 3 over 2. And then, for the last one, let us have 3. Okay, so let us solve it one by one. So for our first test point, we have if x is equal to 0. So, upon substitution to our original inequality, x plus 7 over x minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So, we will have 0 plus 7 over 0 minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So, 7 divided by negative 1, that will be negative 7 is less than or equal to 9. So, is this statement true? Is negative 7 less than or equal to 9? The answer is true. So, ibig sabihin, this interval will be included in as our solution set. Okay, going to negative infinity. Okay, next let us have the second test point, which is 3 over 2. So, if x is equal to 3 over 2, so we will have x plus 7 over x minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So we have here 3 over 2 plus 7 all over 3 over 2 minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So upon solving, we will have here 3 over 2 plus 7, that will give us 17 over 2. And then, in the denominator, we will be having 1 over 2. Okay, so, as you can see here, we have two fractions. So, we have 7 over 2 over 1 over 2. If we have that one, actually, we can cancel out the denominators, giving us here, so this is less than or equal to 9. So, giving us here 17 is less than or equal to 9. So, is 17 less than or equal to 9? Is this statement true or false? So, in this case, this statement is false. Therefore, we cannot consider that interval as our solution set. And then, for the last test point, we have if x is equal to 3. So, let us get our regional inequality. Again, we're going to substitute our test value, which is 3. So, 3 plus 7 all over 3 minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So, 3 plus 7 is 10 over 3 minus 1 is 2 is less than or equal to 9. So, is 5 less than or equal to 9? For this one, of course, the answer is true. Because we know that 5 is really less than or equal to 9. So, ibig sabihin, we can again consider our this interval as one of the solution sets to our inequality. Okay. So, tapos na ba yon? Okay na ba yon? Since na-prove naman natin na we have those intervals as our solution set, so the answer is not yet. Kasi, tulad ng sinabi natin kanina, meron tayo ditong or equal to. So, dahil meron tayong or equal to, kailangan nating i-consider pa rin yung ating critical values. So, isosolve din natin yung ating critical values. So, for our first critical value, we have if x is equal to positive 1 as our critical value. So, we have x plus 7 over x minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So, substitute natin yung 1. We have 1 plus 7 over 1 minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So, 1 plus 7, that will be 8 over 0 is less than or equal to 9. So, yung division natin by 0, alam natin na that will be undefined. Okay? So, dahil undefined siya, ibig sabihin, hindi niya na-satisfy yung ating inequality. Therefore, we can say na yung ating critical value na 1 is not included as a solution set to our inequality. So, dahil hindi siya included, ang gagamitin nating symbol dito is parenthesis. Okay? And then, for the second one, dun sa ating second na critical value, if x is equal to positive 2, so again, substitute tayo, x plus 7 over x minus 1 less than or equal to 9. So, we have 2 plus 7 over 2 minus 1 is less than or equal to 9. So, 2 plus 7 is 9 over 2 minus 1, that is 1, is less than or equal to 9. Is 9 less than or equal to 9? Of course, that is true. So, dahil true siya, ibig sabihin, yung ating value na positive 2, which is also our critical value, is included as the solution set to our inequality. So, therefore, the solution set to our inequality can be written as, that will be, we have negative infinity and then positive 1. Of course, not including 1. Kaya parenthesis yung ginamit natin. Union. Then we have the bracket 2 and going to positive infinity. So this will be our solution set for the given inequality. Okay? So that ends our discussion. So thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you again in the next discussion.